kind of introduce themselves on who they are and what they've done. You can see a little brief description about their titles. And I want to introduce Askash, Thakkar, and Minh. I'll give the phone to, give the mic to Askash to introduce himself.
Good evening, good afternoon, I guess, right? So good afternoon, folks. My name is Askash, Thakkar. So my first claim to fame is this gentleman sitting next to me is my cousin. So we work in commercial real estate together, but I'm a partner with the firm called EYA. So EYA is an urban infill, largely residential developer located here in Montgomery County, Bethesda, Maryland. Been around about 27 years. Do anywhere from 300 to 450 units of housing per year. And we do those in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We're about a 100-person company. We do a fair number of urban infill townhouses. There's a project called Chelsea Heights, about 4 blocks from here that we did in Silver Spring. But urban infill townhouses, multifamily rental, mixed use, and mixed income are kind of the 4 categories in which we develop. And what I'd love to talk about today as we jump into this conversation with my friend Minh is just share some perspective on what's going on in the 3 different markets in the district region. So we've got the district, you've got Montgomery County / Prince George's County, and then you have Northern Virginia. And while they all work together, they each have somewhat different stories in terms of what's happening. And I'd love to share thoughts on that and gain some Minh's perspective as well.
I'm Minh Lee. I'm the managing partner of 22 Capital Partners. We are a private equity company and a venture building company. We invest primarily in commercial real estate and emerging technology. And my topic today is really going to be around how do you bring technology into a smart city. So one of our projects is out in Ashburn. We own a metro stop at Ashburn Station. The project name is Gramercy District. It's nearly $1 billion project that we own. And a little bit about 22 Capital Partners and our mentality is a private investment firm by family. Our motto is we invest before you invest. What that means is that we put our capital at risk and we go into deals that have to be large enough for us to have a great return for us and our investors. But the other thing that we do is we want to make sure that we control the environment so that our investor gets the best return. At the same time, have a social impact to society. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So the topic, the theme that 22 Capital Partners is investing in today is really the intersection between technology, smart cities, and AI, etc., into the built environment, which I'm in love with the products that EYA puts out all the time. So they have great products. We will not infill, but mostly big cities. So we have a number of projects across the United States today. But when Sean asked me to speak, I was very excited to be here because it's really about the DMV for us. We're going to invest in the DMV. We think we can make a major impact because we can bring both U.S. and international capital in an environment that has so much innovation in this area. So I'll talk a little bit more about that.
Just to add very quickly to what Minh was saying, I think this will be an interesting conversation, Minh, because my company's tagline is life within walking distance. And so you mentioned in this notion of having a positive social impact. And so from our perspective, more and more business needs to obviously be profitable. You can't run a business and form a business if it isn't profitable. At the same time, your contribution to the community, is it walkable, is it technology friendly, is there mixed income housing? There's a number of sort of social parameters that I'll call them that we look at as well when we evaluate and invest and ultimately build projects. So it's great to see that, I think the next generation, if you will, of development firms and real estate professionals sort of across certainly the city, but hopefully the country, have this sort of dual mindset. Obviously you have to make a profit, but just as important, maybe if not more, is what is the impact that you're leaving on the particular place that you're working on or developing.
Great, thank you guys. So I really want to make this an interactive type of session because I want to get you guys as the audience to really hone in and figure out how and what these guys are doing and how we could all be, how we might be impacted or anything, or if we can get involved, because these guys are constantly looking for certain types of projects, that land deals, certain types of development deals, that's what these guys are looking for. So I want to really dig deep and talk about some of the projects that you guys are doing in the DMV as far as EYA is concerned, and I'll follow up with Minh right after that.
So as you heard me say, we take a very, I guess I'll call it tri-state approach. So DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And so maybe I'll start with the district, right? So what do we look for when we look for good real estate projects? Sort of a strong economy, a strong job market, and a place that is sort of moving positively in the right direction in terms of sort of growth, and a government that's sort of allowing growth. So in the district, over the next 18 to 24 months, we've got two big projects coming online in Northeast DC. So I'll start by saying that we think Northeast DC is a place of significant opportunity, close to Catholic University, and even farther out as you approach Prince George's County. We've got two fairly large, just shy of 100-unit townhouse projects. The first one is called the Josephites Project, right across Providence Hospital in Brookland, and the second one's right on top of the Fort Todd Metro, and yet to be named, but a second project with townhouses, retail, and some multifamily housing. So I would say, of the three markets, we are extraordinarily bullish on the district. Why? Because the district has come a long way. It's got an environment that encourages growth. As you may know, there have been some lawsuits opposing development in the district, and it looks like the district is pushing back, the government is, and ensuring that development will be allowed to occur. The district's got a strong mayor who's really comfortable with sort of pushing for a fair amount of development, and even the D-word density, but also pushing for affordable housing as well. That's a climate in which we can work well because we're comfortable providing affordable housing, comfortable working with communities, but we need a leadership that is pro-growth, and we have that in the district. So my big comment on the district, we've got those two projects underway. A third one, the McMillan Sand Filtration Site, right off North Capitol Street. If you come from DC down to the Capitol, it's about 2 miles north of the Capitol, right next to Children's Hospital. We're working with Trammell Crow, it's a UIA Trammell Crow and Jair Lynch, doing a very large-scale project with 700 to 800 multifamily and townhouse units, retail, 1 million square feet of office, big park, really exciting project. Again, that's in Northwest, but right on the border of Northeast and Northwest. So our sense is you will continue to see a fair amount of investment in the district, certainly in the core markets, DuPont Circle, the downtown, but also places like Northeast, places like Southwest by the Wharf, places like Southeast, by Nats Park. All of those areas have emerged and will continue to emerge, so the district is a place that we look to invest. So what I'll do, Keisha, is maybe stop there with the district. I want to talk a little bit more about both Maryland and Virginia and get some perspectives. Let's jump over to
Yeah.
So, my role as an investor in a real estate developer, not part of the technology investment, is something is a little bit different in the sense that we love to invest into areas like DC and New York and Florida as an investor. So we do that. As a developer, our philosophy is to build large, multi-billion-dollar mini cities, and where we can actually have full control. So as we think about real estate development, a lot of times you see multiple very large corporations coming together. And because we're trying to build something unique, we have basically 2.5 million square feet, roughly $1 billion project at a metro stop in Ashburn, Virginia.
That's Gramercy.
It's a Gramercy district. It's at the terminus in Ashburn, Virginia. And what we're doing there is taking control of that real estate and look at it from a holistic perspective in a mixed-use environment. So over 1 million square feet in office, 700,000 square feet in retail, hotel, convention center, believe it or not, dorms and attracting university to come into our footprint as a vertical university for education, for next generation of innovation. And and then also multifamily housing. And we also have acquired another 50 acres outside, a little bit outside of Reston that has not been announced yet. We're also bidding on other project that has not made the press. But our focus is large, multi-billion-dollar project along major work center transportation hubs. So we love anywhere near or at the metro for where we focus on. And I use the word control a lot. And the reason why that is one, we want to be able not only to create a great location and great mixed-use development, but in order to create and provide a platform for small businesses, for startup to be part of our city, we want to be able to say yes. So if you have a great idea, if you have a great whiz-bang application that needs to connect Internet of Things, IoT, you walk up to a large real estate development, there are at least 100 owners. Who do you talk to? It only takes us one person to say no. And then you're not able to launch your company or have the funding to do that. So what we're doing here in the DMV investing in is one, investing in large real estate investment that we control. And separately and distinctly in CityLink AI, which is my software platform company, provide a platform, the investment, so that startups can use our data, our technology, to launch their own technology, their own capabilities within our control environment. So that's a little bit how we think about large real estate, and we call it a digital twin. We create digital twin city, digital twin data within the built environment to create convenience as a service for everybody that's living, working, shopping, and learning in our city.
So I'll just add to what's interesting about this is, so, we kind of have two firms, a little bit different perspective. You got your city builders, right? What EYA does is sort of build into existing neighborhoods more than build new cities. So we're sort of urban infill, if you will. So what does that mean? It means we're looking for 3 acres or 5 acres or 7 acres or 10 acres in an existing neighborhood. And our goal is to sort of build into that existing neighborhood a new part of that neighborhood fabric. So it's sort of interesting to hear two different ways about going about the same type of thing, which at the end of the day is creating good new urban walkable places. Our firms have a little bit of a different approach. Let me just share quickly the Maryland and Virginia piece.
Yeah, also I want to kind of, before you share the new future of real estate, I want you to kind of talk to the audience about what you guys have already done as far as EYA is concerned. So maybe, they understand the neighborhoods, they've seen the neighborhoods, they've eaten in the neighborhoods, so they get what you guys are doing. Because I don't know if a lot of people have heard of EYA, or you guys might have if you live in...
Show of hands, how many folks have heard of EYA?
Great.
Some, okay. How many folks have heard of the Gramercy District? All right, we need to talk more about that.
Step your game up then.
Yeah.
So what I really want to talk, if you could really give the audience, some of the projects that you guys have done, and just get that, want them to get that kind of perspective, and then we can talk about the future projects.
Okay. So a little bit of background of EYA. What have we done? As you heard me say, right here in downtown Silver Spring, we did some townhouses right on Colesville Road, right by the metro station, called Cameron Hill. We did that project about 20 years ago. We did a project called Chelsea Heights right by the Whole Foods, right around the corner from here, 70 to 80 row homes. That was about 5 years ago. But the projects that we're most well known for was a project on U Street at 13th and V, where we built about 125 units of housing 18 years ago on the U Street corridor. And we like to think that our project, which is the first new market rate housing in that corridor, helped stimulate what U Street is, which is now one of the coolest neighborhoods I think in the city. So what we like to do and what we are best at, many of you might have seen the project Arts District Hyattsville. As you leave DC and you go out Route 1 towards the Napa High School and University of Maryland, there's 25 acres, there's a Busboys and Poets, there's multifamily housing, there's retail, and there's housing on both sides of Route 1. Sort of big catalytic project that we think has helped the Route 1 corridor in Prince George's County come into its own and sort of thrive. Another project, we've done 2 projects out by Catholic University. One's called Chancellor's Road, 260 row homes, 3 blocks from the Brookland Metro. And similarly, you've seen this big transformation take place in Brookland, DC, and sort of all of Northeast DC, as you heard me say. If you're driving up and down Route 270, exit 4 Montrose Road, you'll see some brownstones in a place called Park Potomac. So UIA was the developer. We put the land under contract, we got it zoned, and built the townhouses out there. And our partner Folger Pratt built out a good chunk of that, so you might be familiar with Park Potomac as well. Today, over in Northern Virginia, we've done a ton of Old Town Alexandria. There's a project called Robinson Landing right on the banks of the Potomac River, 70 high-end condos and 25 high-end townhouses. Really cool project, high-end architecture, overlooking the Potomac River. We're going to have a great new restaurant on the ground floor and some other cool retail, new neighborhood market. So as you hear me describe these projects, I think it reinforces the theme that our focus as a company is really doing what I'll call urban infill and making neighborhoods and places better, advancing them, helping to revitalize them, and in the case where they're already revitalized and stable, knitting in new projects into the fabric, which results in more housing, more retail, and more tax base. So hopefully that gives a little bit of color about what it is we do and where we do it. Over the company's history, we've developed, I believe, somewhere in the 6,000 home range. Our homes are, we are home to about 10,000 residents in the DMV, just to give you a sense of size and scale. About 100 person company, just to give you a sense of size and scale.
Great, thank you. Minh, if you could share a little bit about how Gramercy started, how did you develop this idea, how do you come up with this concept? If you could just share that with the audience, that would be great.
Sure. So, this is like a little bit of confession here. Okay? So, 22 Capital Partners, the real estate arm, is only 5 years old.
As well, if you could touch base on that.
What I really want to do is I can share with you what we're building, what I think could be helpful for you guys, is just to give you a sense of our perspective, because we're out there every day pounding the pavement in these various markets. So I shared with you, we are bullish on DC. DC is, I don't know how many of you guys have called DC home for over 10, or DC metro area home for over 10 years. So fair number of folks. So those of you probably who have lived here probably know, as Keish well knows, growing up here, the city is such a different place from where it was when we were growing up, even from 10 or 15 years ago. So in my opinion, in our opinion, the district is really turning that corner. Northern Virginia, I think it's a really cool story that we should all be proud of, because the reason, my sense is the reason that folks like Minh will invest all the way out to Ashburn, that folks like Amazon will invest closer to DC over in Arlington, is because there's this great educated population, and we built a great community, and we built a great city and suburbs, right? Because Arlington and Alexandria are suburbs of the city, but we built this great community with an educated populace that results in business wanting to be here. And I say that because we should never sort of take that for granted. There are many places throughout the country and the world where business does not come because the infrastructure is not great, the populace is not educated, any variety of things. We are lucky to have all those things. So Northern Virginia, in UIA's mind, is a really great story because you've got Amazon, but not only Amazon. Up where Minh is, Ashburn, Loudoun, the Wheelie Avenue Metro, Reston Metro, there's sort of a tech renaissance, wouldn't you say, Minh? That's sort of coming, and what does that mean? It means high-paying jobs, and from my understanding, and this is not my expertise, it's probably more Minh's, but once technology companies like Amazon or Amazon Web Services or Google or Microsoft or Apple, all of whom have locations, in Northern Virginia, once they start coming to places, what does that mean? It means more of them will want to come to these places because these places become a hub for that type of talent, right? So what we see happening in Northern Virginia, really as soon as you cross the district line, and even in the district as well, but all the way sort of out the Silver Line corridor, is this great job creation story. And I always say, as a real estate developer, sometimes folks get mad and say, why are you guys building so many apartments and so many townhouses and so much retail? But really, as a developer, we're a supplier to meet demand. We're almost reactionary. Sure, we can help create great places, but we build in certain places. Why? Because there's demand for people to live there. So it's not that we want to put more cars on the road or bring more people to an area. People already want to be in our region, and so we want to make sure that they're provided with cool communities and good housing and housing for various incomes. We're almost like a reactor in that way. But Northern Virginia, we think, is a really great story, and so as we look to the future, we are looking to do more and more in Northern Virginia. You heard me say we've got a project on the banks of the Potomac called Robinson Landing in Old Town. We think that's a wonderful market. It's a historic market, but also has sort of a strong fabric. But then as you sort of head farther out, we're doing a big project in Falls Church that Kishan is aware of, right on the Falls Church Metro. Minh is involved in a project right next door is that public? Can we say it?
We bid at $1.5 million.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So really, we're right next to each other. 10 acres with us, another I think 8 acres with Hint and Min's team, and then there's also a parcel on top of the metro, which we hope to have some good news about sometime soon. So you're going to have this big mini city, as Min said, right on top of the West Falls Church Metro. So, and then, we are looking at other projects. We develop a lot on retail shopping centers. So when retail is often, many communities are often over-retailed. Another observation that I'll make. What do I mean when I say that? Because of Amazon, you just heard me praise Amazon, but because of Amazon, shopping centers are not necessarily, they're too big. There's too much retail space. They can be really cool and really experiential, but they probably need to be right-sized. And so that creates opportunities for folks like Minh and myself to redevelop portions of shopping centers, connecting new homes to retail, and we see a lot of that opportunity in Northern Virginia as well. So sort of future real estate, Northern Virginia, whether it be Arlington, whether it be Alexandria, whether it be Fairfax County, whether it be Loudoun, particularly on the Silver Line, our sense is that the Northern Virginia market, even separate and distinct from DC, which is a different market, we think will bear a lot of fruit in terms of jobs and therefore development and redevelopment. And then I'll hit, if we have time, I'll go to the county as well. But
yeah, let's. I want to touch with Minh. So what's next for you guys? I want you to touch base with 22 partners. Where are you guys as far as timelines concerned? If you could just touch base on that.
So we love this market. You cannot be a better market in the DC, Virginia area. We actually did on the Amazon deal. Unfortunately, we didn't win. And not a lot of folks know, but Fairfax County is the #2 wealthiest county in America. Guess who's #1? Loudoun, right? So Loudoun and Fairfax is #1 and 2. We have 2 of the metro stops that we did and didn't win with Amazon. But there's a couple of things why we were in the running. One, if you look at the Tyson's Corner and Arlington all the way up to Reston and above, this is where the Fortune 500 companies are. Everybody is there. Not a lot of folks know, but Loudoun and Nashville is the data center of the world. So on our data capital of the world, so 75% of the world's internet goes through Loudoun and Nashville. And coincidentally, with my technology background, it runs right across my property. So we actually bought our own dark fiber because we own our own fiber. So we have an advantage across the networking environment for technological connectivity. So we understand technology. And then the idea there is how do we interconnect these work centers, create a technology platform to create jobs and education. When I keep on talking about education, this area is the ability to invest in applied education. So what we do is we create great places like Askash was talking about in a holistic way. At the same time, create a platform for innovation and startup launches. And then we're inviting global universities to put their satellite university footprint, accredited and unaccredited, in our location. And what we're doing, we're negotiating IP within the university, coupled with our capital in our place to launch businesses. So again, shortcutting, creating critical mass. So we love this area. We love the technology element within this area. Our focus is really the cross-section between technology and real estate. Gramercy, we broke ground. You went out there today. The metro is built. It's opening mid next year. There are about 600 homes already there, fully leased. Movie theater open, all the offices open and fully leased. We are building the next high-rise out there through a new product that's going to be hitting the market. And then every other year we'll build an $80 to $100 million building for the metro site itself. On the technology side, we invest in 3 companies, Civic AI. We have another one called YVE.ai. That stands for Your Virtual Enterprise. The idea is we become the support mechanism for technology to accelerate their growth. And then we have Concept Foundry, which is, we think is a hybrid of the next generation of co-working and accelerator with a venture builder mentality. So that's kind of what's next for us.
So can I kick off the questions?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to kick off the questions and throw it to you guys. So my question for Minh is, can you help paint a picture for us 15 years down the road in Gramercy District? What is life like that's different from, let's say, me walking around my non-technology friendly or savvy neighborhood?
So about 4 years ago, I described how we would do Gramercy District as a smart city. And we were all over the newspaper down there. Washington Business Journal was on the cover of the Washington Business Journal Innovator of the Year 2017, etc. And there was a lot of things that we were doing then that's actually obsolete now. There's a number of things that we thought were cool and things that we could do, which we can do now in terms of privacy and data management, which has changed. And one of the good things that happened was the deal that Google's building a smart city out in Toronto alongside. It's cute. It's $50 million, right? We're a lot larger, even though they're Google, we're not. But we control the entire development. They only control a small portion of it. So what's like is different in the future. One of the things that the Amazon, the Google, and the Facebook has done is help with is this hyper focus on privacy. So the future for the people that are in the audience that understand data, the user will own the data, not the large corporations. So we architect that environment. Next thing is voice is going to be very prominent. So you can have much more richer conversation. And Alexa and Siri, which is the one of many, Eve, which is our AI bot, will be personalized to you.
What's the name of the bot?
It's a AI platform. And what you would be able to do is own your own data, manage your own data environments. We built what's called a moment manager. So the idea there is every moment is personalized to you, and you don't know this, but you have multiple digital yous. You have multiple digital things and multiple digital interfaces. So all the data that floats around that can be now personalized to you. So imagine if you're able to walk into an environment and just grab a beer and leave. Well, that's kind of cool, right? I live here. It knows me. It knows my cell phone. It has my account. I can grab that beer. Why not in a backend? And by the way, why does it have to be money? Why can't it be a token? Why can't I have an environment where I can earn my own money and have an environment where I have my own environment that I can create value for the city and personally benefit? So there's a lot of micro, hyper, localized ownership that's going to happen. So there was a show on TV the other day where the artists, Christie's, now have virtual artists. You create a theme. Through the blockchain technology, you have all these artists all over the world adding to that theme. And when that art gets sold, everyone gets money from it. So the idea of convenience as a service, hyper-localization of privacy, and have the ability to live, work, learn, and play within your own environment, it's already here. You just have a mini regulatory environment that's forcing you not to do that. Now, the other side of the coin is how do we take what we learn and have other people, like people in the audience, invest in your own community and create limited partnership as an investor and accelerate that model and be able to create basically localized wealth in this environment. So everything's going to be by voice. A lot of things, the predictive nature, and our moment manager would actually know probably better than you do about a lot of things that happen. That's to become scary unless you own your own data, right? And also you have control.
Thanks, guys. Cybersecurity better tighten up. Can I take some questions from the audience?
Hi, I'm Michael Kim. It's very, your glimpse of the future is fascinating. Minh, if you don't mind speaking about also the future of senior care, because as you know, Ash, there are a number of private equity companies that have gone very heavily into the Ashburn area, but even in the mid-90s, places like Charlottesville, Ithaca, Indianapolis have combined senior care with colleges so that students can learn from seniors and vice versa. But the key issue with senior care now is they have these great continuum care of apartments, assisted living, and nursing, but they can't get to the shopping centers and the places. But what is your vision also entail facilities for senior care as well?
Let me give you a different perspective. The answer is no in terms of our investment directly into the built environment, but we're always looking for opportunities that we can build in an environment. So yes, we're going after student housing, and the senior care environment and connected health, we call it actually, is different. We are invested in that area. And we think the idea of using technology to solve for some of the things in the senior care is where we would invest in and work with, versus investing into a built environment. So we think that there are many things that you would believe you can see today that exist. What they're lacking is the actual capital. Well, you said, well, just throw money in it. What happened is we're taking advantage of the chaos with multiple owners. So when you have an environment where you have more than one stakeholder owners, if the other person doesn't understand what you're talking about, you can never get that deal done. So what we try to go in there is that we control that environment. We can evaluate an opportunity to invest in, and then very quickly decide we're going to go there. And that's it. I mean, to answer your question, we're not building in that area, but we think the connected health area, solving with technology is part of with senior health environment that would happen.
We have one more right here. So unfortunately, guys, we're kind of running short of time, so this will be the last question. Both of these guys are going to be outside. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want.
So, hi, my name is Noel Harmer. I just had a quick question about being a solo operator. Does it give you a margin that would reflect affordability to the consumer on the back end? So, right now, like income to cost of living ratios are increasingly difficult. Do you now have that advantage that you're able to offer these, whether it's office space or living, at a market discount? Yeah.
So the answer to the question is cost matter. It doesn't matter, no matter how you think about social impact and other things, at the end of the day, it's money that matters. So the way that we solve this is a little bit different. I'll share some of it here. In the commercial real estate development, it's really about cost of capital, the capital stack, we call it. How much can you borrow from the bank at a certain rate? How much can you raise capital from the market, which will provide 8 to even 22% IRR, et cetera. So that environment is very, very difficult. When you add all those things together, it creates your cost basis. And then the rent is the rent. So that's your becomes your cost, and then make money and pay back your investment. So we take a holistic approach. We say that how do you create a higher rent product for less cost? The only way you can do that is use other people's money differently. So for us at Gramercy, we negotiate very nicely to get the county to build a garage on our site for $22 million, which is other people's money. We have a nonprofit, we call it in the business, the real estate, it's called public-private partnership. We have public-private philanthropy partnership for people, education. So the idea that if you're going to invest in education in UVA as an example? What if you were able to invest to get a higher return on investment, at the same time have a social impact? So they're gifting this money to endowment. So we attack the capital stack in a way that reduce the cost of development. And then now that allows the investor to say, hey, if I put $1 here and make this return, I get the same return here with less risk, but I also have a social impact. So you have to solve for the capital stack, because you can't finance it, it won't get built.
Thank you, guys. We are completely out of time. I apologize, but Askash and Minh will be outside if you guys want to ask more questions. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you.